Dave Revson, Gerry DiNardo, Howard Griffith in State College. Just had a chance to watch Penn State practice. And, guys, one thing that stands out when you watch Penn State, one thing that stands out when you watch Ohio State, some of the other elite teams in the league, we haven't seen Michigan yet, but I assume this will stand out there too, is young talent in this league has really improved by leaps and bounds in the 10 years that we've been on the air. Recruiting has taken a huge uptick. What do you see when you look at the very top of the league and the recruiting?
Well, I think our experiences at Maryland this week and our experience here at Penn State, for me, reinforces that recruiting rankings are pretty accurate most years with most teams, because they've done a really good job here recruiting, and they've been ranked high, and they're second and fourth right now for 2018. And so to me, it's a reinforcement that recruiting rankings mean something. When we did our show, my best thing was the assistant coaches and how they coached in today's practice. You can clearly see why they could build relationships during recruiting and how they could relate to young people. It's kind of the total package with this assistant coaching group.
Yeah, you talk about being able to do it on the field and then be able to pick up the phone and go out and recruit, identify, and evaluate talent. It's a wonder why the best teams in the league, that they're able to do it both ways. But when you look around the league, it's full of great recruiters, guys that can make contact and understand how to tap in and how to get the best out of a player. And also the families are a big part of it as well. So when you look at the rankings, because I was a guy that at the very beginning when we started, I was not a big recruiting rankings guy. And I think that had a lot to do with me being a walk-on.
Yes.
So there was a little bias.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
But I will absolutely say when you look at the rankings, there's always going to be some kids that don't pan out. But I tell you what, give me all the 4 and 5 stars and you take everybody else, and let's see how it works out. For the most part, these guys are gonna rise to the top. But so much of it is about how you develop them, because they can be highly rated. But then once they get onto this field, you have to be able to get the best out of them.
And for our conference, you look at the West Division, where they're in a little bit more remote area, these new rules, the junior visitation, the early commitment, the being able to pay for the parents to come in, that's going to help the West Division of the Big Ten. I don't think you could ever pass a rule that would hurt the East. They will always survive in the East as far as recruiting and recruiting rules. The West is what needs help, and they're getting the help with these new rules.
I'll tell you, it's really interesting, too. Remember when Urban Meyer came into the league and basically said, this league needs to recruit better. This league doesn't have players.
Took a little heat for that.
He did take a little heat for it, and in hindsight, he was right.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think schools have understood that he was right, because you look at the types of hires that people are making in the Big Ten now, and they are making hires with an eye on recruiting. And the results have manifested themselves on the field. They end up with 4 top 10 teams at the end of last year.
And the facilities, which everyone sees, helps. But what most people don't see is the back rooms, the added staff that you're allowed to have by NCAA rule, that I think a lot of Big Ten ADs were reluctant to do. Now they're doing it. You're not breaking the rules. They're not allowed to make contact. There's certain rules, but you need those back rooms filled with young people.
And I think now, next year, they're going to be trying to address some of those back rooms, as far as staffing is concerned. I think one of the other things that really jumped out, particularly the places that we've already been, is just the speed. Right, and some of these guys look like they are ready to compete right now. They're coming in, they're doing a tremendous job in the off-season workout conditioning programs that are getting these guys ready to go. It's one thing to be a third-year junior or a senior, but when you're seeing some of the true freshmen that are coming in here that have early enrolled or been through the summer program, it's dynamic, and you have to give a lot of credit to the strength and conditioning staffs of these programs.
And look, there are a couple different models. I mean, there are programs in this league that have to be developmental programs just because of who they are, and there are some that do an exceptional job of that. And that's not to say you can't win that way, because we've seen
it.
You absolutely can win that way. But you can also win by bringing in elite talent, as you say, Howard, and we're seeing more and more of that here in the league. Plenty more coverage as we continue on our tour here on BTN. This stop number 5. Keep it on all of BTN's social media sites for coverage throughout.